EdYoda, the end of your job search and the beginning of your dream career. EdYoda's live sessions are taught by industry experts, giving you hands-on experience and practical knowledge with real projects, not just degrees. EdYoda's industry-recognized certifications will help you stand out in the job market. And that's not all. With EdYoda's exclusive job board featuring 500+ companies, finding your dream job has never been easier. Say goodbye to endless job searching and hello to your dream career with EdYoda. Join EdYoda student community today and start building your dream career.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this live stream, live workshop. I hope you all are able to hear me. A quick check. Is my audio clear? Able to hear me clearly or not? Okay, great. So welcome to this workshop. I hope you all are excited. And we'll be doing today, you all know the topic, data visualization using Excel. And before we start, we'll talk a little bit amongst each other. And before we actually start the workshop, a quick like to this video if you haven't liked it, and subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. We'll be starting at exactly 6 o'clock. But before that, a quick question for you. I'll start actually this live stream from Bangalore. Alok, again, a quick question to you. Where are you doing this live stream from?
Yeah, I am doing this from Kanpur, my hometown.
Yeah, we are able to hear you.
Yeah. So I'm saying that I am doing this live streaming from my hometown, Kanpur.
Okay, great. Again, okay.
EdYoda, the end of your job search and the beginning of your dream career. EdYoda's live sessions are taught by industry experts, giving you hands-on experience and practical knowledge with real projects, not just degrees. EdYoda's industry-recognized certifications will help you stand out in the job market. And that's not all. With EdYoda's exclusive job board featuring 500+ companies, finding your dream job has never been easier. Say goodbye to endless job searching and hello to your dream career with EdYoda. Join EdYoda student community today and start building your dream career.
Okay. So we'll have a quick check again. Audio, video clear. So we'll be beginning the live session now. We have Alok here with us, and he'll be the one who will be teaching you data visualization with Excel. Now, I won't take too much of your time. I'll hand it over to Alok. He'll give a little bit introduction about himself, and then we'll start the session. So over to you, Alok. And again, before we start, a quick like and subscribe the channel. Over to you, Alok.
Yes, hi Rishabh, thank you for this session. And hi everyone. So I am Alok. I work basically as a data scientist, and I have overall a 5+ years of experience in machine learning data science. And I have covered a lot of domains in this machine learning like NLP, computer vision, and then deep learning. Other than that, reinforcement learning and some part of recommendation system as well. Coming to this tech stack side, I am professional with Excel, R, Python, PySpark, etc. So I think we will enjoy this session together, and I will share my screen, and then let us start our discussion with respect to our current topic, which is data visualization with Excel. Yeah, so just give me a moment, and then let me share my screen. Yes. So hi Rishabh, can you confirm, is my screen visible to you or not? Okay. So I hope that this is visible. Now let us start our discussion. So yeah. So today we will start our discussion with data visualization through Excel. Now let us go to our curriculum, what we will cover today. So first of all, we will start with the introduction. And in this introduction, we will cover that why this data visualization is important for us. And why are we choosing this Excel as the, you can say, platform for this data visualization when there are a lot of platforms which are existing in the market. And I hope that a lot of persons have already known to this platform, such as Power BI, Tableau. Then there are again softwares like R and Python, which already do this data visualization for us. Still, we will cover this Excel for our data visualization. So what is the reason behind it? We will try to understand all this. And also we will try to understand that why this Excel is so important and why it is still in market as a competitor for other tools. Then after that, we will go to understand different types of chart in the Excel and how to use those charts for our use cases. Then we will try to understand those charts as a practical example, right? How can we plot those charts?
Alok.
Yes.
Alok, can you make it full screen so that we are able to view it on our full screen?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it should be okay. So different charts we will understand. And after that, there are a few questions for you, which will be, of course, shared by Rishabh and team with you. Correct? So with this, we are going to start our introduction part. This is our data visualization. Why this data visualization is so important, and why should we know this data visualization? Right? So first of all, the question is that how do we represent our data? Now, the data representation can be done in many formats, such as text file and CSV file, tabular file, lot of files you can understand. We will definitely see how we can store our data in Excel, but that is our next topic. So that's why first of all, you understand or assume that there is a lot of data which is stored somewhere. Now the data is just like a number, and to understand that number, there should be a lot of processing for that. There should be a lot of understanding of the data statistics and data cleaning around that. And once everything is there in place, then you want to understand that why that data is trying to convey, right? So in that case, if you are going with lot of numbers, then that numbers cannot give you a glimpse what that data is trying to convey. But once you just plot that data into somewhere, then you will get a lot of things from that data itself. without looking deeper into data. So in one go, I will say that data visualization tries to convey what data just try to tell you, right? So by looking into that data visualization thing, you can know a lot of about that data without wasting your time over that numbers. So this is one thing. And the second thing is that there are a lot of complex relationships. Until unless they are represented in form of numbers, they are not that much vital or that much understandable. But once that information we represent in terms of some plots or some charts, then we can infer that complex relationship in very simple way. So I hope this part is clear, right? So with this, let us move ahead and let us try to understand this with a picture. Now you can see that here inside, here you can see there is some Excel table, and in right hand side, you can see there is some chart, right? Now you try to understand that data is, I think, around 10 rows, somewhere around 10 rows. And once we are looking into that data directly, we cannot infer too much from that data, right? This is first thing. But as soon as you are going to look on the right hand side, then you can see that on x-axis or on the horizontal axis, you can see that there are few tags here. And with respect to those tags, on the y-axis, you can see some dots, right? So now you can see that this $3 million, I think, or $0.3 million is the point. And related to this point, the tag is having the maximum value, right? Or that particular month or employee is having the maximum value, right? So this is what we cannot infer directly from my data, but in one go, this information I can get directly from my plot, right? So I hope that this comparison is making some sense to you guys. And with this, I feel that let us move ahead, and that why we are choosing Excel as the platform for our data visualization, right? And let us try to understand why this Excel is there as a platform for our data visualization. So now, first thing is that data visualization is something which helps us to understand a lot more about our data. This is first thing, right? Now, this data visualization should be done using some platform or some sort of tools. And for that tools, there are a lot of names which exist in the market, and they are really used very well by a lot of, you can say, professionals. And naming few of the tools are like Power BI, Tableau. Knowingly, I have not added them here. The reason is because that is out of our scope, right? But you understand now that when I just talk about a particular tool, then there is a lot of things to cover there in that tool itself, right? And you need to understand, learn that tool. But this Excel is something for which it provides you a lot of things, which if you're not knowing anything about Excel, still you can try to work around these tools. And also you can very quickly, very easily learn these things, because this Excel is meant for non-professional persons, and along with non-professionals, professionals are also using all this, right? So when I talk about this professionals, then these are two types of professionals. One is tech professional and another one is non-tech professional, right? When I talk about tech professionals, then these are the professionals which usually work with the tech stacks, like a development side or something like that, right? Or DevOps side, you can understand like that. And when I talk about non-tech professionals, then these are the professionals which work around the non-tech side. That is around, I think, HR domain, right? Or marketing domain, sales domain. You can say business side of the persons. So here they do not know too much about that technicalities, and hence they require that tool, which is very easy, very convenient to work with, right? And here you need not to put a lot of efforts to understand that tool itself. Rather than you can focus on your visualization and infer the information, right? So that's why we are focusing on Excel. So Excel is very easy to organize your data, to format your data, and to calculate the insights from that data, right? And the table or the visualization thing where you store that data is known as spreadsheet in Excel, right? And so that is the basics of Excel, and definitely in some or other class you will be covered with these basics of Excel itself. But today we are discussing our data visualization. So just in one go, I will tell that the data which is stored in Excel is known as spreadsheet. And after that, you can plug and play around that data by using the Excel tools. And those tools are already provided to you within that Excel sheet itself and in that toolbar. So we will see that also, what is toolbar there, right? Other than that, this Excel sheet is used very widely. Already we have discussed this by the professionals, whether they are techies or non-techies, and also by the students or the persons who want to analyze, visualize, or manipulate the data. So this is best suited for them. And also very easy to understand, does not require a lot of efforts. You also need not require someone to guide you. There are a lot of tutorials already available, and you can look into those tutorials, and then definitely you can get skills on how to use Excel. So that's why this is very easy and convenient, right? Open source is there, so that's why there is no payment you need to do to use Excel. And other than that, once you are practicing this, then you are becoming very handy in this, right? The last thing I will add, that the data in Excel is stored in rows and columns, right? So now this is how our Excel sheet look like. Of course, we will discuss more about this in our practical implementation, right? But this is how you will see how our Excel sheet looks like, right? Now, here you see there are few things I will discuss here. So first of all, you can see this green box below this A, right? This particular thing is known as cell. So cell is nothing but the intersection of a row and a column. Now, what is a column in this? Each individual, you can say each individual vertical column itself, like A, B, C, D, all these values are known as the columns, and they are also referred as attributes. Attributes means something which is storing some information related to some particular entity, right? Now, don't get confused too much about these terms. The simple thing is that each individual intersection of the column and row is known as cell. Column is nothing but the vertical alignment of the data, and row is nothing but the whole entity itself. So for example, 1, this complete all the combination of all the cells is the 1 row. Then second, you can say 2 number, that is second row. Complete A, B, C, D, E, all these combinations, whatever data is present, that is for second row. Then likewise third row, fourth row, and fifth row, right? So likewise, there are 3 things. One is you can say a row. Second thing is column. Third thing is cell, right? So row is clear, column is clear, and cell is clear. Just one more time, I will repeat it. So column is nothing but the vertical alignment. Here you can refer A, B, C, D, E individually as a column. 1, 2, 3, 4, these are individual rows, and cell is the intersection of row and column, correct? Now, with this, I think let us move ahead, right? Now, let us try to understand what are these charts. So first of all, where are we at this moment? So we have discussed what is visualization, and we have also discussed the platform using which we will do our visualization, right? So in one go, what is the visualization? Visualization is something, or visualization is a representation of data in visual format, which enables us to extract a lot of information from the raw data, or from the, as compared to raw data than in visualization data, right? So this is one thing. This is our visualization, and why we are using Excel, even if there are a lot of tools in market, because Excel is very easy to use, very easy to understand. We can get hands-on in Excel without too much overhead of paying and all that. So it is free of cost. So all these are the benefits of Excel, and that's why we are moving ahead with Excel for our data visualization side, right? Now we are discussing about basic charts in Excel. So of course, since we are working with Excel, we are working with data visualization. So there are a lot of charts, a lot of utilities which are there in Excel for visualization, right? Now here, first question you can ask is that, see, we want to do some visualization, right? Then why there are so many charts? Why should we read so many charts in our data visualization side? So for that, the reason is that, see, we will discuss about these charts, and then we will understand that each chart is meant for different purposes, right? So if suppose you want to understand the trend of the data, then definitely this pie chart will not help you. Why? We will discuss that what is pie chart, and then we will try to understand that what is the difference between these charts. But of course, the idea here is when we talk about the trend, then we want that direction, right? So the data or the chart which can tell us about the direction of the data, how this data is behaving, whether this is moving upward with the time, whether this is moving downward with the time, right? So in that case, the chart which will help us is line chart, right? So that's why if I want to understand the comparative rating between the two categories, then in that case, the line chart will not help us, right? Because line chart will tell us the trend, but I want to know the comparison between the numbers. So in that case, either column chart or bar chart will help us. So likewise, I hope you understand that there are different purposes, and one purpose cannot be achieved, cannot be solved with what I can say, that different purposes cannot be achieved using single graph, right? So that's why to achieve different purposes, we need to achieve different purposes, we need to learn about different graphs, right? So that's why we are learning so many graphs in our Excel. So this is now that why we are learning so many graphs, correct? Now let us start that what are different graph types. Okay, so here a few of the graph types or chart types I have mentioned, and the common types we will try to also implement in our further discussion. But here you can see that we have column, bar, line, area, pie, definite, and XY. So these are the general charts till XY or scatter plot, you can say. These are the general charts which are mostly used by the data analysts or by the professionals in order to analyze their underlying data behavior. And we will try to understand these charts in detail. Now coming to the remaining charts like radar chart, then bubble chart, surface chart, stock chart. So all these charts are again meant for different purposes. So stock chart is basically used in stock market analysis, right? What is the price of the stock and all that. Then a radar chart is also meant for one such purpose, and we will discuss this, right? So I think with this, let us try to understand one by one what is the underlying purpose of different chart, right? So here first chart we will discuss is the column chart. We will discuss here. Okay, so we will discuss that how to access chart later. But yeah, first we will try to understand what is line chart in Excel, right? So again, I discussed with you that when I talk about line chart is nothing but the chart which is just trying to talk about the trend, right? So what is this trend? Trend is nothing but the upward and downward sort of behavior of the data. So what we will do here, we will try to cover these charts along with our implementation, right? So for this reason, I am just opening my, you can say, Excel sheet, right? So just give me 1 second and let me open my Excel sheet, and then we can one by one along with our implementation, we can start discussing this. So just a minute. Yes. So now I think you can see this. Now, first of all, let us discuss that how can we get this, what you can say. Just a minute. Okay, so I think now the first question is that someone of you can ask that from where I can get this Excel. So let us discuss that as well. So in general, if you are having Windows system, then there I think Excel is built in, right? So most of the time you will get the Excel in your system itself. But suppose sometimes the Excel is older or it is not supported in your system. In that case, there are also the you can say same type of softwares such as WPS Office, or there are a lot of softwares, but WPS Office is also a very good competitor of Excel, and it can provide you the same feeling what you have in your Excel, right? So just search in net and WPS Office, download it, and then open it, right? Install it and open it. So this is all about that from where you can get your what you can say that Excel site, right? Now from here you understand like this. This is what we talk about column A, B, C. These are individual columns. This is my individual row. This is my first row. This is my second row. This is my third row. And when I talk about the intersection of a row or column, that is known as cell, right? This is my cell. Now, which cell this is? This is the C3 cell, because this is at C column and this is at third row, right? So that's why this is a C3 cell. Now, what else is there? Yeah. So this is the basic thing about our Excel. Now here, I have not created any data. That's why, because the reason is I wanted to create the data here itself for your understanding. So if you have some CSV file there, you can directly open it using Excel. How? You can just click here, right? Then you can open this. You can select any file from here like this. Just click here and you will get the file opened, right? But I am not opening that. I am just creating the data from our end itself. And how will we do that? So let us understand. First of all, I will try to create the ID, some ID, for example. This is my first column name. Second value I want to create is, for example, class, right? And the third value I want to create is as grades, or I will say score, right? And we will try to create some different numbers here, some 5-10 numbers for our implementation purpose, right? ID is something like numerical. So I am simply creating this ID, right? And after that, let us try to create few IDs here. For example, 10 IDs or 9 IDs. And then I will discuss, I will write some values for this class. So here you can say, for example, class A, some random values, right? A here, and then, for example, I will say B and B, right? After that, I will try to say write C, or let me create only 2 classes. So A, B, and A, right? Like this. These are my classes. So ID is here, class is here. Then let me define some score. So here you can say 75. Some random values I am writing, 30. Then I will say, for example, 28. Then I will say 70. After that, I will write 65. Some random values you can always create, or you can read it from some file. 75, 72, and 80. So for example, these are my values, right? So this is how our data is looking like. And we have ID, class, and score with us, right? So for example, this is just a data set of some students of, you can say, ID, class, of some school with some classes, right? So random data set I have created. Now, when I talk about the charts, right? So here you can say that we have at our insert tab. So in this Excel, you should see your insert tab here. And when you will click on these insert tabs, then you will see something called as charts, right? And from these charts, you can select different type of chart here, right? So which chart you want to create, all this you will be recommended here. And also you can click on recommended charts to see that which charts you can create, right? Always you are free to explore these charts. But again, we will try to discuss most of the charts here in our session. But this is how your layout will look like, right? And suppose if you want to create the column chart or line chart, whatever, so you can do from here, right? But since we are discussing here about line chart here, so first of all, what you need to do, you need to select your data here. You need to click on this line chart, and whatever line you want to click, you just select that line, right? And here you will see that your chart is here, right? But you can see that this chart is here along with these numbers. Now you see the first number is 75. So somewhere you should see that this value is between 70 and 80, that is 75. Then your next value is 30. So here you can say that this value is 30, right? And then 28. So like that, different values are projected here. Again, there are different types of line charts you can select like this. From this, it is always getting recommended to you. And based on your convenience, you can go with the charts, right? Which line chart basically you want to select. So this is always recommended to you from chart styles, right? So here you can say, as soon as you will select some chart, directly this chart design tab will automatically be selected for recommending you. Sometimes based on your system configuration, it may not be recommended. So here you can go into chart design to select the recommended chart styles, right? So this is, and this will be applicable for all types of charts, whether this is line chart, whether this is, you can say, column chart, bar chart, pie chart, whatever. But these chart styles will be recommended to you from this chart design tab. If it is not recommended, you can always click here and do this, right? Again, this is one thing. Second thing is, this is quick layout. You can see that which layout you want to prefer, right? So from here, you can select about the different layouts, whatever you want. It is up to you. You can select different layouts, which is best suited for you, right? So this is next thing. Now, the another thing I want to explain here is, now you understand, we discussed that what is our visualization, you can say, and we discussed in our first slide that why this is important. Now you see, when I was writing this data here, so somewhere I wrote 80, but I was typing this data in front of you. So maybe at that time you figured out that, okay, 80 is the maximum value here, and I think 28 is the minimum value, right? This is what you figured out at that time by I was entering these values. But suppose these values are directly projected to you, and you do not know about these values, and these values are also huge in number. For example, 1,000 values are there like that, right? At that time, it is very difficult for you to analyze that what is the minimum value, what is the maximum value, how this data is looking like, what is the distribution of this data. Very difficult for you, right? So once you have that data represented in some visual format, then your lot of hard work is eliminated, right? So directly you can infer based on your, so let me select this one, right? So like this, you can infer that, okay, I feel that 80 is the maximum one, and I think 28 is the minimum by looking into this. And here what you can see, I discussed that this line chart always discuss about the trend of the data, right? So trend means the pattern, like data is increasing or decreasing. So generally this trend is best suited for time series data. Time series means over the time you want to understand how your data is behaving. And generally you see that this is not a time series data, but if you talk about the trend of the data, then you see the data trend is slightly increasing, right? So here you can say slightly increasing, then decreasing, then increasing, then slightly decreasing, and after that again increasing. So like that you can understand that this is how your data is behaving using line chart, right? Now here you can see that this is your data, and here you can say that with respect to which value this data is given, right? This is not known to you, right? So how will you do that? For example, so for that reason, I will delete this graph. Let me delete this graph, right? And here I will select these two columns. For example, I want to project these values with respect to class and score. So now I will select these two columns. Again, I will go to my insert tab. I will click on chart. This is the icon for line chart, insert line chart or area chart. So this is the icon for that. And once I will click here, then you will see different type of charts. And here you can select any chart based on your requirement. And here you go, right? So now you can see, you can select any layout for you based on your choice. And here you can see that with respect to these values, here you can say for A we have 75, for second A we have 30, for third A we have 28. So here you can see for this A we have 75, for second A we have 30, for third A we have 28, and so on, right? So like this, you can select one or more columns to perform this visualization, right? And also the chart should support those many values when you want to visualize the data. Of course, when you want to visualize the two-dimensional data set, then there are, I think, one is x-axis, another is y-axis. By default, if you are not passing x-axis, then it is just selected based on this ID 1, 2, 3, 4, as you have seen previously. But if you are selecting two columns, then one column will be selected as category, and second column will be selected as corresponding value. Not category, but I will say index, right? So this A is now treating as index. This A is again treating as separate index. This A is again treating as separate index. So that's how you will see that this is how that is looking like, right? So I hope that this is making some sense here. Now, other than that, you can also do a lot of things. So I am discussing this with respect to this line chart, because most of the time for other charts also, the same thing will happen, right? So that's why we are discussing one chart in a bit detail. And after that, we can understand a lot more things about the different types of chart, but these things will be common to all the charts, right? So let us click here in this. Now here you can say that what you want to add here. So here, if you are selecting your data label, then data label will be added. And other than that, if you want to do this chart title, right? If you will remove this chart title, so you can say that there is no chart title here. But if you will add chart title, then this chart title is displayed here. And you can change this chart title based on your requirement. So I will say, for example, class versus score, right? Something like that. That's it. So here, this is how your title will look like, right? Other than that, if you just click on this axis, so you are not selecting this axis, it means your axis will be removed from here. If you will select this axis, so you can see the values here, right? Coming to axis titles. So here you can say there is no title in this x-axis and in this y-axis. If you will check this axis title, you can always edit these values. So here you can write whatever value you want to provide for your x-axis title. So here, suppose I will provide the value class labels, right? Class labels. So here you can say it will be looking like class labels. And here in y-axis, if you want to click here, then whatever value you want to write here, you can write. So for example, if I want to write here scores, I can write here, and then that's done, right? So here now you can see this your graph title or chart title is set here like this, and axis titles are set like this. Again, you will click on this plus sign. Then if you want data labels, you can uncheck, you can tick it. If you do not want data labels, then you can uncheck it, right? And after that, this is your data table. Now you see this. If you are clicking this data table part, then what you will get here, by default, the table will be created inside your chart, and what that table contains. So there are two axes you have selected. One is x-axis, another one is y-axis. So in the first axis, you will see all the values of x-axis, and on the second value of that table, second, you can say cell, you can see all the values of your data, right? So in fact, the same values of class and score in this format. So this is again giving you understanding. If suppose you are not selecting this, for example, data label, then this chart can help you, right? So like this, you can work around this. Again, you can plug and play around these error bars. And this error bar is nothing but telling you about the deviation of your data, or you can say the range in which that data is varying, right? So in general, it is 75, that is between 70 and 80 somewhere. So that sort of error bars, it has been defined by inheriting internally, right? So other than that, if you talk about these legends, right? So this, what is this legend? Legend is nothing but it will tell you. So generally this legend is used for when you try to plot multiple graphs in one go, that is 2 or 3 graphs. So in that case, legend will tell you that which color line is for which variable, right? So in that case, this is legend. And if you are clicking this, so since blue line is for scores, so it is saying blue for scores, right? Now I discussed about this trend. So when you talk about the line graph, generally this line graph is, trying to convey about the trend. So here you can say when you are talking about this trend line, then by default, it is trying to inferring the trend from here, by fitting some regression line, you can say, or by inferring that how these values are averaged up, and then it is trying to providing you the trend. So according to this representation, or according to this data score, you can say that these lines are plotted in such a way that the trend of the graph is positive and increasing, right? So here positive increasing means it is monotonically increasing. It is never decreasing, right? So this is how you can plug and play around these values. And here you can say that up down bars. So these up down bars are basically when you talk about these bars or columns, then you just use these up and down bars, right? So this is all about these chart elements. Now, when you talk about this second option, so this second option is generally the chart styles, which we have already seen here. If you talk about these chart designs, so what you were seeing here, it is directly you can get from here, chart style and also the color, right? So whatever color you want, the same color you want to select, and it will be what you can say, the same color will be displayed here, right? Whatever color you want. So other than that, so this is color and this is about this style. So from here you can select different styles of your choice, whatever means style you want to select. Yeah. So this is how you can work around it. And then I think you can select this color here. Other than that, what else is there? Yeah. So from here you can select different colors. And that's it, right? This next section when we talk about is that filter, and here you can select or deselect whatever you want, right? So if you want to check for the values or check for the scores, then you just select or deselect here, and then only that part will be shown to you in your graph, right? So this is all about what you can say. If you suppose do not want to select this part and you apply this, so for example, this last part will be eliminated, that is 80, correct? So this 80 will be eliminated from your from this graph or this chart. Then again, you can move this chart up and down. You can shift this based on your requirement, right? So this is the general thing about a chart, about the labels and all, correct? So generally this is how we just select these values. And this is how we can use these three icons here, which are displayed on the right hand side top corner of your chart. And this will be shown to you once you click on this chart, right? If suppose you click outside of this chart, then your chart will be like this, correct? And if suppose you want to use this chart somewhere, and for example, so again, you can copy this chart and for example, copy here, and wherever you want, you can paste it there, right? So this is what the nice thing about this, what you can say, Excel charts are. You can very easily copy these charts and paste wherever you want. So for example, suppose this chart I want to paste somewhere in our slide, for example, just for a demonstration purpose, I am showing you. And suppose I just want to go here after my line chart, right here, and I'm just creating a new slide. And suppose I want to paste this slide. So here you see, just a minute. Let me copy this from here. And let me paste here. So here you can see this same chart is copied from there and it has got pasted here, right? So this is how we can try to plot our charts in Excel for visualization purpose. And we can do a lot of things around these charts. And here you can see that how nice these Excel's charts look like, right? And how this Excel provides a lot of utilities along these charts, so that we can change this chart accordingly based on our utility or use case, right? So, and also we can use these charts. Just let me delete this slide because this is just for our demo purpose. So that's why I hope that this is making some sense to you, right? And this is how we can use our line chart here. And as we will move ahead along with our session, I will try to discuss a lot more charts like this, right? So this is all about line chart till now. Now I want to move ahead for our next chart. And here you can see the next chart in our order is, you can say, what is that? Column chart, right? Now, why do we use these column charts? Let us understand. So why do we use line chart? We use line chart for understanding the trend, right? So I hope that this part is clear. So till now, what we have covered? We have covered data visualization part, and we have understood that why data visualization is important. So first we understood it using slide, and secondly we understood it using our Excel, by creating data and by projecting this data using line chart. And we tried to compare it, that how this line chart is representing this data, conveying a lot of things about this data better as compared to the raw data or the numeric numbers, right? So we understood this, that why data visualization is important. Second thing we understood, why do we use, or why are we using Excel? Why have we selected Excel for this demonstration, right? There are a lot of tools again, and there is no harm to learn or enhance your skills. But still, if you start with the basic, it is always good. Excel is very powerful tool, and it is always recommended. If you know your Excel skills, definitely it will help you across your domains or across your professional journey. So second thing, then we third thing, we understood about different types of charts and why these number of charts are required, right? Can't we use only single chart to do our all the things what I want to perform for visualization? So this we understood. After that, we just tried to understand the first chart, that is our line chart, and we also tried to see this line chart in Excel with our usual live implementation, right? So till here we are done. Now the next thing I want to move is column chart, correct? Now I hope that this is making sense to you, and you are okay to understand all this, right? Okay. And if there is any query, definitely just feel free to reach out to us, and our team is always there to help you. Okay. Now the second column chart we are trying to discuss here. So this column chart is again a very nice chart. You can see by looking into this slide example I have already given. So once there is a data, right? And here you can say that you want to compare two or more values regarding, you can say, some category, then this column chart is very helpful. So you can see in heading, it is mentioned here, column chart, which compares two or more values for two or more column values for some a category or some another class, you can say. And here in this chart, you can see that there is something called as month. Month is one column, which is, you can say, generally a categorical column. And there are two separate columns. One is sales column, another one is expenses column, right? So sales is having some number and expenses is also having some number. Now suppose I want to analyze that in which month my sale and experiences was too much, or I want to get some sort of understanding that in which month my expenses crossed my sales, right? Something like that. That is a bad month for us. So that's why I want to inherit this sort of informations. Also, I want to understand that as we are moving across our months, is there a month which is having less number of sales as compared to its previous month? Because that is also sort of bad indication for us. So all these things we can easily perform using what you can say column chart, right? So here, let us try to do this implementation in our Excel, right? So let us try to generate some dummy data for us. I am just deleting this slide, you can say, or this chart by simply clicking on delete button. Now let me generate some data set for us. So here, what I will say gender, correct? Here you can say gender and not gender. So just let me, score is already there, and I will create a score like this, right? So let me just create my, here let me name the class or something. Okay, let us create like this. The data is something like this, month, and here this month is like Jan, then Feb. Okay, just a minute. After that, March, then April, after that May, June, July, August, and for example September. Okay, so these are the months. And also I will create sales and expenses. For example, expenses. Now here you see sales, some random value I will say. Sales I will say in 1000, and here I will say expenses in thousands, right? So I will write simply the numbers. So like random numbers I'm writing. So 20 is here, then 21 is here, 19 is here, somewhere I say 29 is here, 18 is here, then 21, after that 26, and let us say 25, and somewhere 10, right? This is my sales. And when I talk about expenses, so this is something like 23. This is just a random data, right? So just we are trying to create some data for us. 21, and then 110, after that 11, then I will say something like 8, then 7, then 11, and I will say 18, and somewhere around 3, right? So this is how our data is looking like here, you can say. Now, for example, if suppose I want to just do this, understand like this. Now I suppose want to analyze this data, and I just want to select these 3 columns. I will go to my insert tab. I will say my line chart, for example. And suppose if I will try to plot this line chart here, right? You can say, now this line chart will tell you about the trend, right? This blue line and this orange line, whatever you can say. Now, here very clearly you cannot identify that which 2 months are very good for us and which 2 months are very bad for us. Of course, if you are having a sound experience, by looking into these gaps, you can infer something, but it is not conveying too much about your data, what you want to infer from this data very well, right? And here you can see that legend will help you out. If you see here, you can see this legend is already ticked. So this is sales in 1000. This blue line is for sales, and this orange line is for expenses. So that's where this legend is helpful for us. Okay, so that's why I will not use this line chart for us, for example, and I will use what you can say column chart, right? So I will select this data, you can see here, and then I will click on my insert, then I will click on chart, and here if you see column chart, insert column or bar chart here. So this is the sign of column chart. This is the pillars, you can say like this, and here line chart, you can see the lines like this, right? So this is the column chart or bar chart. Here you can see there are 2 lines like columns. This one is a statistical chart and this one is column chart. So I'm simply clicking on column chart, and here it is asking for 2-dimension columns. I will go for 2-dimension columns. You can go for 3-dimension columns as well. Based on your requirement, again, you just select which type of graph you want, right? Either you want to mention the separate graphs or you want to just mention it in 2 dimension. It is totally up to you. Again, if you just click on this plus button, the same thing you can see what we have already discussed, right? You just check here, data labels, all that. Same thing you can use here. And if you just try to select for the color, which color you want, so you just go and select from here, right? Something like that. It will be selected accordingly as you will go here, and based on that, what color you are selecting, this will be reflected here. Coming to this filter option, again, whatever option you want to filter, you just click on that, apply your changes, and this will be reflected here. And other than that, chart title, if you want to add, just click here itself. What chart title you want to add, just edit it. So for example, I want to suppose add comparison of what is that? Any value you can, relevant name you can give. So I will say comparison of expenses expenses and sales over the month, right? This is making some sense. That's why I will write like this. And after that, based on your requirement, you can increase or decrease the size of your chart, right? Okay, now let us discuss. Here you can see by looking into these numbers, it is not very trivial that which month is very beneficial for us. By looking into this graph, you can see that April month sale is too much, right? Approximately we have done 30,000 rupees sales. And here if you see that this approximately, I think 30 minus 10, somewhere around 20,000 rupees profit we have earned after doing these expenses. This Jan and Feb approximately is too bad for us, you can see. Other than that, there is one more thing we can infer from this, that in starting, you can see our sale was too much, then slightly our sale decreased, and suddenly in August, the expenses were decreasing from starting, and suddenly in August, the expenses increased too much, right? Now, what is the reason? You can infer it, whatever is the reason is, right? Other than that, you can infer a lot of things from this, that which is the month where the minimum number of expenses happened, and why is this? Other than that, along with those expenses, the sale is also, you can say, decreased. What is the reason behind that? All this you can infer, right? And then whoever person you are in terms of your designation in the company, you can take the actions accordingly. Either you can convey these findings to your management, or if you are the person who are doing this analysis for your team, or you are a manager itself, then you can dive into your system, what is happening, why is this reason, and then you can take the necessary action. So this is all about, you can say, column chart, right? So here, I think you got the idea that when we talk about this column chart and the line chart, then the column charts are basically used to do a comparison between two or more columns. You can also here create one extra column, whatever column you want. For example, sales minus expenses, for example, right? Or you can say profit, right? Profit in 1,000. Okay. Just a minute. What is this? Profit in 1,000, right? And what is the profit here? So I will say this value minus this value, right? This is what I want. So this is my minus 3,000 profit. It is my loss, you can say. And the same formula I can apply over my different columns to get this. Now, if you want to compare all these values together, what you will do, I am removing this chart, or you just let it be as it is. Let us try to select my values here. So I will select my 3 columns here, right? And after that, I will select all my required rows. I will click on insert option. After that, I will go to my column chart, and then I will select the required chart, whatever you want, right? Which suits best for your observation, you can see here. And then what is that? Let me plot this here based on my requirement. So let me plot these charts side by side, right? So that I can analyze them in a better way. Yeah. And here, if you want, you can select your style for better visualization purpose. Okay. Whatever style suits to you. Now, this is just, I will copy here my title. And I will paste this title here. Comparison of expenses. I will say here sales and profit over the month. Now you see which is the month where you got the maximum profit. I think April is the month where you got the maximum profit. Here, this is a bit difficult to analyze, right? That which is the month and all those findings. But here in one go, you can talk a lot of things about it. You can also see that this is the month where there is no profit in February, and in January you were in loss even, right? Minus 3,000 was your loss. So that is 3,000 you put from your own pocket. And this is how you are getting the comparisons along different values across different categories. That is different months or whatever category you feel it is okay for you. So this is how you can compare your values for, I think, different for different categories across different columns, right? So that's where we use our column chart. So I hope that this column chart and line chart, these things are pretty clear to you, correct? So with this column chart is finished. Now let us move to next chart. Okay, just a minute. Yeah. So the next chart is a bar chart. And here you see that as we discussed about column chart generally is in vertical direction, but this bar chart works in horizontal direction. And there is nothing much in this column and bar chart when we talk about differences. This is just the way we represent these values. And sometimes we just try to understand the values in different orientation, you can say. So here this is, I think, a 90-degree rotation. So that's why. And why this is important, for example, understand. So in general, when we talk about this x-axis and we want to analyze these bars here, you can see these heights here. In column, we call these values as heights. And in bar chart, we call these values as bars, or you can say bars here, right? So when we talk about these bars directly in x-axis, sometimes the person is more comfortable in x-axis, understanding the numbers, and in y-axis the categories. So that's why this bar chart is used there. So let us try to understand this also with respect to our use case. Now let us try to get here insert. And here, if you want to just go to your charts, and if it is saying whether you want to go for bar chart or you want to go for column chart. So column and bar chart, both charts can be created from the same column chart or bar chart icon, right? This is column chart icon. From here, you can go with the bar chart as well. And whatever bar chart you want to create, you can create, right? It totally depends on your requirement, that which type of chart is best suited for you. So here you go, right? So now you see, this is another way of understanding the same thing. Here you can say that in April month, this white line is or brown line is bigger, right? So that's why you can say that this April month is more profitable for you, or most profitable as compared to other months. And here, since legend is activated, here you can say that which color is for which variable, right? So if you just click here you can click is this, you just ignore your legend. So you can say that there is nothing here, and that's why this is better, right? Profit in 1,000, expenses in 1,000, sell in 1,000, right? So this is how you can manage the things here. And bar chart, that's why I will not discuss too much about it, because it is same or in other way, sort of different representation of column chart, right? So that's all about this bar chart. Now let us move ahead for area chart, right? So let us discuss about this area chart now. Yeah. So if you talk about this line chart, right? Area chart and line chart, these are again similar like column chart and bar chart. So when you talk about simple line chart, then this line chart always talk about the trend, right? But if you are comparing two or more graphs and same, you can say a line graph, at that time, the gap, how will you understand that how much gap, whether the gap is bigger or smaller? So to understand this sort of, to take this sort of idea, we generally go for area chart. And this area chart basically, what you can say, gives you a glimpse about the gaps between two values, right? So how one value is different from another value. And that's why we call this as area chart, because here you will get the trend along with your area field, correct? So let us try to understand that as well. Now let me delete this. Okay. So again, for example, let me select these three values, for example, just for demonstration purpose. Right. So for example, I'm selecting these three values. I will go to my insert tab. I will go to my line charts. Suppose I am simply doing this line chart, right? I will paste this line chart here. Now you see here, this is sales in 1000, that is blue one, and orange one is expenses in 1000, right? So here you see that if you talk about the maximum gap, then I think this is here somewhere in April month, right? And as also we know, because of our previous column chart, we know that this April month is the most profitable one. It means the gap between these values will be the maximum one, right? But this is not, we are not able to see this in a very better way. But if we use our area plot here, then I think we will see this. So let us try to do that. Here you can select the data. You can always go to your insert tab, then just click on here line chart, and then here you go with your area chart, right? Whatever area you want, it totally depends on you. How do you think that whether you are getting this area in percentage or whatever, use this chart type. And here also descriptions are also given to you that which chart you want to use, and this will do what, right? So all this it will be getting here. Now you see, let us use this chart. Now here you can see, by when the values are filled or some colors are filled between the lines, here you can better see, better analyze or visualize that which month or which particular category is having the maximum or minimum gap. So here you can say the gap is very minimum or approximately nothing, right? There is no area between two lines. And here you can say that the gap is the maximum one. Here also gap is okay. Here the gap is minimum. You can say less gap is there. So that's what it is trying to convey. And that's why we use this area chart when we want to understand our trend in terms of as compared to other trends, right? So in that case, this area chart or line chart is simply talking about the trend between the two lines. Area chart also compares the gap between the two lines along with their trend, right? And if you want to get the trend line for them, you can always select it from plus bar, right? Or plus icon. Here you can see, here you can select this. So from here you can get that, right? So I think this is all about your what is that? Area plot or area chart, right? So yeah, Rishabh, are you there?
Alok, you can continue.
Okay, fine. So this is our area chart. Now area chart is done, right? So now let us move to our next chart, that is pie chart. Now let us understand why do we use this pie chart. So I hope that you are getting the idea that why we are using different charts. So here you can think of that based on our different use cases, these charts are some are more helpful to us. Okay, so that's why I will give you one quick recap of everything what we have discussed till now. So we have discussed about our basic definitions, that is visualization and why Excel. Other than that, we discussed about different types of charts like bar chart and column chart, area chart, line chart, pie chart, and all that, right? Other than that, we started our discussion along with implementation. The first discussion was for line chart. The line chart is all about the trends. When you want to analyze how your data is behaving along with the trends upward or downward, it is recommended to go for line chart. The second chart is we discussed was column chart. Column chart is always discussing about the, what you can say, about the comparisons between the two columns with respect to some common category. So if you want to understand that within some particular common category, how the two values are behaving, and you want to understand how the values are differing between each other, what is the comparison between the two values, such sort of idea you can always take from column chart. Then the third type of chart is like bar chart, correct? So bar chart is the, I think, horizontal representation of column chart. When the column chart displays your categories on x-axis and the comparative values on y-axis, the bar chart displays the categories on y-axis and comparative numerical values on x-axis, right? So one way and another way of visualizing the same thing with respect to different orientations are column charts and bar charts. Then the fourth chart we discussed was area chart. Area chart is again, I think, same as line chart, but it discussed about the trends between, I think, two or more values. Generally, because if you are analyzing this with respect to single value, then it is not that much trivial. But when you talk about the two or more values, and then this area chart will tell you what is the trend between the two lines and how these two lines are differing with respect to each other by filling that gap, correct? So this is all about area chart. So this is what we have covered till now. Now the next chart in our queue is pie chart. So this pie chart is also having a lot of utilities, very widely used chart, and also having a lot of, you can say, specialties about it. So let us discuss that pie chart, right? Now, what is the pie chart? Pie chart is nothing but, you can say, it is sort of 100% reason. What is the meaning of 100%? 100% means whatever value you are talking about. So first of all, it will try to talk about the single numeric value along with some categorical value. Why categorical value? Because with respect to the category, if you want to understand that how much percentage the particular value is contributing overall, then this pie chart is very helpful in that case, right? So how we can understand this using the real example. So let us understand that, right? Now, for example, I will remove these charts. So here you can see, I will remove the two charts, right? Now I want to discuss about pie chart. Now you see, this is my month and this is my sale. Pie chart will always focus on single column, right? Unlike your line chart, column chart, and bar chart or area chart, it can focus on two or more columns. But this, what you can say, pie chart, this will always focus on single numeric column along with its, what you can say, some categorical column, right? So the categorical column we have is month, and the numerical column what we have is sales in 1000, right? So in sales in 1000 is the numerical value. So this will try to consider all these values, right? If you see all these values, and if suppose I will sum this up, for example, so I will say sum here, sum function, right? And I will say something like this, sum, and the number I will select here is like this, along with I will select something like this, right? So here you can say this is 189. So if I talk about the total contribution of sales in maybe some financial year 2021, 22, 23, whatever, right? So total sale was of 189 rupees, correct? Now for 189 rupees, how much percentage this sale happened on January, right? What percentage of this 189 happened on February? What percentage of this 189 happened on March? So all this we can analyze with respect to pie chart, right? If I want to understand the contribution in terms of percentage, the pie chart is the best one for us. So let us try to analyze this. What we will do, first of all, let us try to select the single column. Here you can see this, okay? And after that, I will go to my insert tab. After that, I will go to my pie chart. Here you can say that this is your pie chart, right? This circular type of graph. And this pie chart, once you will click here, you can see different types of chart based on your requirement, whatever you want to analyze, right? So based on your requirement, different types of charts are given to you. And other than that, this is the chart which I am trying to use here, right? Now you see, here you can see that this is the portion which is implemented, I think, by the most of the time. And I think this portion is where I think July or August somewhere. Now you can see here. Okay, so this is the, I think, okay, so let us understand like this. This the first part on the left hand side here you talk about. This is your complete sale. Out of this, what percentage each individual sale has contributed is mentioned here, right? So let us try to understand. Yeah, now you understand here, these values will be mentioned also here. You can say 189 I have also selected, right? So that's why it has selected this 189 as well. So for that, let me delete this 189, and here you go. This chart is automatically, adjusted. Now let us understand. Here you can say based on these colors, here legend is there, right? So one is referring to this blue color, two is referring to this orange color, two means this. First one is this, second one is this, right? Like this. And the last one is 10, so 10 is this. So like this contribution is given to you in terms of values, right? And based on that value, so this value 10 is the minimum one. That's why its contribution or the percentage it is showing is also the minimum one, right? The one which is the maximum one, I think, is this one. So this is 25 and somewhere this is 26, right? So these contributions are maximum. That's why their portion is also the bigger one, right? And this complete one is 100%, right? So this all one is calculated with respect to 189. So 20 out of 189 is, I think, around how much percentage is this? Just click here. So you will say 11%, right? So this 11% you can see here, correct? So based on this, you can do your pie chart. Now, for example, suppose you want to understand these percentages with respect to this category or this label, then what you will do? You will select these two columns here like this, right? Then you will click on insert. Then you will click on this pie chart. Whatever pie chart you want to mention, you just select here. And after that, it will accordingly select the labels from here, right? Other than that, so this is, you have already selected, I think, just a minute. You just let me shift it here, right? Now, sales in 1000, yeah. If you want, you can change your chart title always. You can go here, you can select whatever you want. Data labels, if you want to get, you can get here by clicking on this. And the rest thing, you can select a style or color here, or you can select the things from here as well, right? So just select which style you want based on your requirement, and you can select that accordingly, right? So which one you feel is better for you, just go accordingly, right? So here you can see that in September 5% sale is there, January 11%, Feb 11%, January and February are approximately equal, March is 10%, April is 15%, and all that you can get from this pie chart, right? So I hope that this pie chart is also clear. This pie chart basically most commonly is used when you want to understand the percentage contribution of individual values along with your category or some label, right? At that time, you just go with a pie chart. Okay, making sense? So I hope that this part is also clear, right? Now let us move to our next type of graph. Acha, one more thing, let us discuss this. Along with pie chart, there is something called as definite chart, right? So this also let us cover here itself, because this is the part of this pie chart itself. Let me open this. Okay, so what I will do here, I will again select my both columns, right? These are my two columns. In these two columns, I want to apply my definite chart. What I will do, I will go to my insert. I will click on this pie chart tab, and I will select from here the definite, right? Here you can extract more pie charts based on your requirement. This definite is again another way of representing the same thing, right? So here in pie chart, you can say that this is just like a cake, and on that cake, you can see the percentage of what portion each category belongs to. And when you talk about this definite chart, then this definite chart is nothing but again a circle, and in that circle you will see the portions. Definite is nothing but, I think you have heard about this definite. This is again a dish, I think, and its structure is something like this only. In between the hole is there, and side by side you can see this structure. So here it is represented that what portion of, you can say, what is that, each particular category belongs to, right? Or how much percent is contributing in, what you can say, how much percent is contributing in your complete 100% comparatively. So that part you can see here, and based on your requirement, you can always go for a lot of styles. You can select from here, right? Which one suits to you better. You just go accordingly like this, or right like this you can select. So this is the definite chart, and this is the pie chart, right? So this is all about this pie chart. Now let us discuss the next chart in our queue, that is nothing but the scatter chart. So let us talk about scatter chart as well. Now suppose, so till now what we have discussed about line chart, then column chart, after that I think bar chart, then area chart, right? After that pie chart, definite chart. Now you see, when I talk about line chart, it is always about the trend, right? First value will be considered as label, second value will be considered as what you can say as the value, and then it will be projected on the x-axis along with the y-axis, right? So it will tell you the trend. When I talk about the column chart, it is always used for comparison. When I talk about the bar chart, also the same thing, comparison. Area chart, again, trend with some gap filling values like area. After that, we discussed about pie chart and definite chart. Pie chart and definite charts are used to understand the percentage of or contribution in terms of percentage of each value for a particular column, right? Okay. Now, if you talk about all these charts, you cannot see the spread of your data with respect to one another, right? Suppose you want to analyze your data with respect to two numeric values. Suppose I want to understand height versus width, right? How once we are increasing our height, how width is varying. So if I want to understand all this, then we cannot use these values, because line chart will somehow tell you this trend, but scatterness you cannot understand, spread you cannot understand. To get the spread of x comma y pairs, we use this scatter plot, right? So let us try to understand this scatter plot as well. Okay, I am just simply removing these charts. Yeah. Now suppose, just let me create some dummy values, right? And here I will say height. And here let me call it as weight. Okay, so I will say 5.3 feet. Height in fits I am considering, and weight in kg I am considering. Height in feet, and I will say weight in kg. So 5.3, then 4.9. After that, I will say 4.8. Then somewhere around 3.6. Then 5.9. After that, 5.5. Then 5. Maybe 5.3. And for example, 4.8. So these are my heights, or 4.7, for example, let me say. So these are my heights. Now let us talk about this weight. Weight in kg, for example, 5.3, I will say 60. After that, 54. Then 55. Then 34. After that, I will say 68. then somewhere around 65, somewhere around 60, then I will say 67, and something around 55, right? So this is what my value is with respect to height and weight. Now suppose I want to understand how my data is spread along these heights and weight, right? What is the relationship between the two values? In that case, I can go with a scatter plot. So it will tell me how my data is scattered over the plane, right? So for that reason, what I will do, I will select my two columns, height and weight. After that, I will go to my insert text section. And here you can see this dot dot. This is something like X comma Y or bubble chart, right? So here I will say this, you can see here. And here you go, you can select any scatter plot based on your requirement you want. And also if you want to understand, analyze this in terms of bubbles, you can use bubble chart. We will discuss about bubble chart as well, but we will select with this, right? And other than that, you can plug and play accordingly based on your chart elements, what you want and what type of chart design you want, right? All this you can select from here. Again, which is best suited for you, just to go with that. So simply let me select this one. It will show me how my values are spread, right? So here you can see that the weight in kg, this is mentioned here. And here if you see, this is what my where I was. Here you can say that height and fit is mentioned, right? So height and fit was my first column. So it was listed in x-axis, and weight was my second column. So it was mentioned in y-axis. Here you can say weight in kg is your title. You can change it accordingly. And after that, you can plug and play around this data labels you want to see. You can see it here. And again, if you don't want to see, you can remove it from here. Trend line, whatever you want to see, I feel that you can easily understand this. And here you go, right? So this is your legend. Here you can select it. Other than that, if you want to select some other labels as well based on your requirement, so you can plug and play from here, right? So this is all about your scatter plot, right? So here you want to, if you want to know that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, these are your heights. They are distributed with, you can say, common difference. So here 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. Likewise, based on your values, it will automatically be adjusted, correct? Now, you can see that how your data is spread. Here you can say generally these sort of values or scatter plot is used to look for the outliers. Outliers you can see is something which is deviating from the normal or which is not following the normal pattern. If you see that lot of groups belong to this region, but if you talk about this particular guy, 34 weight, and I think height is somewhere in between 3 and 4, or you can say 3.5 or 6, 3.6 here you can see, right? So this one is the, I think, shorter boy, and also the unique boy, that is, you can say, very short, and it is also the outlier, right? It is not falling in this normal group. So that's why this sort of scatter plot can be used to identify such sort of spread of your data between two numeric values, correct? So this is all about your scatter plot. Again, whatever we have discussed till now, you are very free to use whatever you want based on your choice and requirement, right? Just check for different sort of formats or styles. And other than that, chart style is there. So here, whatever you can see here, this is same thing mentioned here, right? So just check this out. And when you talk about this color, so just select whatever color you want for your use case. So it will be reflecting accordingly. Okay. So other than that, yeah, so this is all about your scatter plot. Now let us try to understand this bubble chart as well. Now you see, if suppose I will click on, again, I have discussed that you can use whatever way you want to represent your chart. And we will go with bubble chart now. You see here, right? Now you check this. Generally, why do we use bubble? We use bubble in order to understand or in order to compare our values, because as we are moving along the bigger values, the shape of the bubble will be denser, and we will try to understand that which bubble is falling the cluster, you can see. So here you can say that these bubbles are denser, and this bubble is, you can say these are not denser. It is showing me that here the density is more, because I think lot of bubbles are falling within one another or above one another. So that's why you can identify the denseness or the rareness of your cluster, you can say. And in this situation, you can use your bubble chart. Also, if you talk about the comparisons, after discussing all this, we will move to our actual slide of this type of charts. And there, whatever we have discussed till now, we will try to get a glimpse on that. So this was all about bubble chart, right? So these are the common charts which we use in our Excel. And all these charts are very useful and handy. If you are using all this, I think you can get a lot of insights and information which you can share with your colleagues or with your management, and that will be appreciated, right? So this is all about the charts. Now let us move a few slides back, where I mentioned a nice, you can say, comparison between the different charts. Since now we have a sound understanding about the different charts, now we can go through them along with their description. So here, if you see, the first chart is column chart. Icon you can see here, the same icon we have used there. And what it talks about, it compares values across categories in a vertical orientation. Values are indicated by the height of the column, right? So the same thing, I think you know this, that one column is your category, and then rest of the values are some numeric values across that category. When you want to compare these values in one go, column chart is helpful. Coming to bar chart, it compares values across categories in a horizontal orientation. Values are indicated by the length of the bars, right? So there we call that larger portion as column height, and here we call as length of bar, or bar length, right? So the same thing, column and bar chart we have discussed. The same thing I also told you while we were trying to implement all this. Now coming to line chart. Line chart always displays the trend over time or by category. So generally when we talk about the trend, this trend is referred with respect to time, because as you are moving across the time, you cannot go back on the time, you cannot shuffle it. So that's why you want to analyze during the time whether your trend is positive, negative, going upward or downward. This is also useful to keep track of the performance or efficiency. So for example, suppose you studied 7 hours per day, and then over the time you just decreased your time period for study, maybe 6 hours or 5 hours. You want to keep track of all this. You can understand the trend, right, of your study hours along with the time. So generally we talk about the trend, we talk about the time series data. When we talk about the trend with respect to category, so that is ordered values, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is order, increasing order. And with respect to that order, how your data is behaving, again, you can understand that by using the line chart, because more or less that will also talk about the trend, correct? So column chart is done, bar chart is done, line chart is done. Now coming to area chart, right? What is area chart? Displays trend over time or by categories. Values are indicated by the filled areas below the lines, correct? So the same thing we also discussed there itself, that it displays trend over the time or by category. Now next portion we discussed about pie chart. So there I told you that this pie chart generally works with one value, one numeric value. You can always attach a category to it, because if the data is loosely bounded, that is no labels are associated with it, definitely you cannot infer that which percentage belongs to what, right? So always to analyze your data, it should be tightly bounded. That is, if it is bounded with 2 or more columns, one of which is category, the explainability is better. So when you talk about pie chart, it is just always one categorical column. The second numerical column, you want to analyze it with respect to percentage contribution, you will go with pie chart, also with definite chart. Both charts are like same. And with one icon, you can access both the charts. In same way, in one icon, you can access column bar. With one icon, you can access line area. With one column, you can access pie and definite. Okay. So what is this pie chart? So compares the contribution of each value in a single numeric data series makes to the whole. Whole means just sum it up, sum all the values, and this with respect to that total sum, what individual value is contributing, that will be calculated as the percentage. So values are indicated by the size of the pie slices, right? So pie is nothing but a type of a cake, and there the slices is nothing but the portion along with or with respect to percentage, which is taken with respect to the total value, right, of that complete sum of all the values in that series. So that is nothing but the pie chart. When you talk about the definite chart, you can read the same definition, but here the values are indicated by the size of definite segments, right? So there you can see the cake, that is also the dish you can understand. Definite is again the type of a dish, which is like a circle, and in between it is hollow, that is nothing is there, right? So by the size of the segment of the definite, you can understand the contribution of each value. So in that way, pie and definite charts are used. Now the next also next chart is scatter plot, we have discussed. Now you see this compares pair of numeric values on the x and y axis with the data points plotted proportionally to the values on the x-axis. Can also be used to display functional relationships such as y is equal to mx plus b. Now why this is mentioned like this? Now you see y is equal to mx plus b. Here you can put the input as x, and this x values can be taken from the x-axis only, right? Now with respect to each x value, if m and b is defined, you can always get your y value. This can always be extracted from the values on y-axis, right? So since you have two value pairs, x comma y, sorry, one value pair, that is x comma y, and lot of such value pairs can be projected using the scatter plot. So in that case, this scatter plot is used. Now here you can say in, I think below scatter plot, you can say stock. After that, you can see radar. And after that, you can see bubble. So here, let us understand bubble, because from scatter plot, we can access scatter and bubble both, right? So bubble compares sets of three values. Values are indicated by the size of the bubble, that is filled circles, right? So three values means how the values are lying one above another. And if that bubbles are falling one above another, then you can understand that these are denser regions or these are rare regions, right? Or on non-denser regions. So this is the bubble chart, right? Now, what about other charts? That is stock, radar, surface, and cylinder. So generally, these are not used too much, but depending on their use cases, they are very specific to. Stock chart is generally used to analyze the trend, prices, volumes over the time, right? With respect to time series data, if you want to analyze, then this stock chart can be used. Radar chart compares values across categories in a circular orientation. Values are indicated by the distance from a center point, right? So this is how you can use radar chart. Surface chart and cylinder charts, these are generally used when you talk about geometry. So that is 3-dimension, you talk about cylinders and all. So there you just use the surface, cylinder, and cone all, right? So this was all about your, you can say, charts and visualizations using Excel, right? Now, what we have discussed during our presentation in this session, you can always utilize that. And other than that, you can explore a lot of things which will be very helpful for you. Again, we have discussed a lot of things. I have also tried to tell you and explained you about all sort of points which are required to create this charts. We also created data from our own, but I have told you that how can we use CSV file or the data which you have with yourself in your system to load it into the Excel, or you can say your spreadsheet. Other than that, if you are having a CSV or any Excel file, then you can click it directly, double click it, or you can open it with Excel, right? So all this we can do. Now the next thing is, the path forward from here is, you just explore this site and practice more at your end, right? So that you can become skilled here, right? Other than that, I think I have not missed anything. Yeah. So that's it about this visualization part, right? So in last maybe 5 minutes, let us just try to summarize whatever we have discussed till now. So we started our discussion from very basic, that is very basic definition of our data visualization. This is first thing we did. And what we understood from there, when we talk about the data is always present in terms of numbers, in terms of values. But when we try to look into that, it is not very trivial to understand what data want to convey, right? What this data is trying to tell us. We cannot understand it until unless we do not visualize it. When you visualize your data, directly you understand what this data want to tell you. So basically, using visualization, you can talk to your data in another way, right? And this is very cool stuff, you can say. And that's why generally we use visualization. When you talk about management, generally they prefer visualizations over numbers, right? Definitely, if that number is associated with the visualization will become better. So that's why we use this visualization. And this is again a skill. As more you are skilled, the better visualization you can create, right? 2D and 3D plots are there, which Excel provides to us. You can explore more on this. There are, I think, more plots which you can explore. So this was visualization. Second thing we discussed, why do we use Excel? And there are a lot of tools. Again, I will say there are a lot of popular tools for visualization, and a lot of popular programs are there, like R programming, which is I think majorly focused on the visualization. A lot of cool packages are there, and day by day, I think the research is going on to improve them. Despite of being all those available in the market, and most of them I think are also free, we can use them. This Excel is still in place, and it is giving the competition to all of them. The reason is that this is very easy to understand, very easy to learn. Suppose most of you know this, and if you do not know this, this is very easy. Just you need to open the Excel, you need to type your data manually, you can type it, right? And then you can simply click on insert, you can use your chart. This is how cool this is, right? That's how easily you can use this Excel. So that's why we use this Excel for our use case. We tried to explain whatever charts we discussed till now using Excel itself. We understood that why this Excel is useful, what sort of terms generally we use with Excel, like cell, column, rows. This was actually required for us. That's why I explained that. And other than that, how you can access the charts by clicking on insert button. You can go and you can click on the charts, and then you can select the required chart for yourself. Correct. So this is what we discussed in our second slide. After that, we discussed about the different types of charts, which is in front of you. So here we discussed about column, bar, line, area, pie, definite, scatter, and bubble. So all this I have shown you by practical implementing them using Excel. And right, we also discussed about the differences of between the lot of what you can say, lot of charts, right? So when to use column chart, when to use bar chart, when to use line chart, all that we have discussed, right? So I think this is pretty much about this session. If there is any doubt or anything you have, if there is any questions, feel free to ask us. And with this, I am handing over this to Rishabh. Rishabh, can you please take this forward? Rishabh, are you there? Hello. Can you hear me, Rishabh? Hi, Rishabh, are you there? Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, look, are you able to hear me?
Yes, Rishabh, I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so you are, have we finished our topics for today?
Yes, yes, we are done.
Okay, time for the Q&A, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we move to the questions, can we have can you please like switch off the screen sharing?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay. We want to know a little bit about you. If you can tell us your story about how you got into the software industry.
Yeah, Rishabh, sure. So basically, when I was in my school, so there was no plan to come in the software industry. But somehow after that, I just give me 1 second, Rishabh. 1 second, please.
Yeah, yeah, sure. All
Yeah,
right, guys.
Rishabh. Yeah,
Yeah, so
sure.
continue, Alok.
So yeah, so basically there was no plan, and I feel that at that time I was thinking that I cannot do anything in this software because this is very challenging, right? You have to keep on update yourself. And at that time I was not that much, you can say, very curious to learn these softwares like programming C, C++. I was feeling myself very difficult to work on around that. And then after a certain amount of time, when I entered into this software just after placement, then somehow I was struggling there with this software things. And after that, I just started working around this machine learning. I came to know about this Python, which is very cool stuff. So from there, I started my journey, and then I went to my manager. I told him that, see, I just want to work in this machine learning. Can you hand over some project just for data pre-processing, data cleaning? I don't know too much about it. So if you can help me out, that will be very great favor for me. And he was so kind that he just next day he associated me with one such project. And then from there, my journey started in, I think, September 2018. This was the time. So around, I think it was 2 to 3 months for me to do that data cleaning only because I was not knowing anything. And I will like to thank that person, that guy who mentored me in this time. And from there, once you know you start your journey, then the things are easy for you. So suddenly I start getting interest in that mathematical part of the algorithms. And from there, I just went deeper down into this machine learning and data science. Yeah, so short
Okay.
story.
But like normally when we are studying this machine learning, it's supposed to be like hard, it's difficult to learn. What will
Yeah.
you say about this machine learning?
Yeah, so I will say that, see, it is not difficult. I will say it is not hard. And it is very easy to understand and learn. The only thing we need to focus is just the flow. We need to understand that how to proceed accordingly, we have to go. If you will suddenly start picking some algorithm, then you will get difficulties there, right? But if you start from very basic, first of all, just try to understand, just take single topic. So for example, a very simple topic is linear regression. So then we start working, what is this linear regression? Why do we use this, right? When these sort of answers you start getting, then suddenly interest develops in you, right? Suddenly some sort of kick is there which asks you that, okay, should we understand this? Should we start reading about this? And then from there, that curiosity will, take you in that direction. Then you just simply understand the basic mathematics, what is regression line, how can we create a simple line, right? After that, you just go deeper down, why to optimize the value, then how can we achieve this optimization? Then you will start the implication of maxima, minima, double derivative. So this is just a sequence, I will say. If you will follow this sequence, the journey is very easy. But suddenly, if someone will tell you that there are a lot of mathematics, right? Derivation is there. So at that time, the mind getting started disturbed. People thinks that we are from non-technical background, we don't know too much about mathematics. So my point here is that we need not to understand mathematics till graduate or BSc or MSc or PhD level. It is very simple mathematics, only we need to understand the concept. And the concept understanding is important because once you are working in real life projects, sometimes it is quite possible that the way you have understood the default algorithms, they may not work. You need to change your parameters in some or another way. So if you know the sound mathematics or the working principles of the algorithms behind the scene, it is easier for you. So there are two things. If you don't want to understand the mathematics directly, you can use the modules and you can get the results. But how will you justify that your results are accurate, right? This is the best algorithm you have used so far. So for that, it is better that if you start understanding the underlying mathematics. So my last point is that if we just follow this sequence, then the journey is very easy and very smooth. There is no hardness in understanding whole machine learning, and I will also say deep learning as well. The path we need to follow should be sequence. That's it.
Okay. Important tip that you should have a structure to start from start and end. If you just study middle, something, it's going to become difficult.
Yeah, of course.
And again, a quick reminder to everyone watching, please do click on the like button if you haven't done it yet, and subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. And you can ask Alok any of your questions. So he has been in the industry, he has been working in the industry, plus he has knowledge of teaching as well. So any doubts you have, any simple doubts also, you can ask us in the chat box so that we can ask Alok to answer it. And you can get the answer. Let's see. So Alok, like this thing that we learned today, if you have to practice, how should we go about it? How should we actually practice these things?
Yeah. So I always recommend my students or my colleagues that see, whenever we just try to deliver something, right? So this is, suppose I today discussed about the visualization part. This was based on my experience. It is quite possible that few of the students have understood this and a few of may not understand this. This is quite possible because sometimes I also feel the same. Someone is explaining, I may not get confidence in there. So what I will try to make them convince that you first go through these things. You just try to understand the structure in which we are moving ahead. After that, you can refer anything. If you are having doubt, right, in the concepts, if your concepts are clear, you feel that my concepts are okay. With this lecture, I can understand the concepts. Then the way I created the data, you just get the data from outside. Don't do these simple data sets because this is just in 2 hours, we cannot create difficult data for understanding purpose. So that's why just get the data from outside and then do the sort of plug and play. Just get your hands dirty on this. Try to apply line chart. Try to understand what you have visualized, what you have understood so far, right? Just try to write it down somewhere. So that's how you will try to get a confidence there that, okay, I know this. If you know someone who is in this field, just go and ask him, see, buddy, I have got these sort of findings and I have done this. I have noted it down. Can you please check it once? Can you suggest me what can I do? So there is a question, then only the answer is there, right? So a person who want to get expert should be curious, sort of, he should be asking questions. So that is the only thing. You just get the data, practice more, and then always refer a lot of resources because see, word is ours, right? Internet word is ours. And there are a lot of great persons, great-minded persons who are doing a lot of things for us. So for example, suppose we are doing today this session, right? We will keep it open for the others, right? For their use cases. So in same way, there are a lot of great tools, great channels, medium is there. So just refer it and don't stop in learning. Just always keep on exploring. That's it.
And how would you say, like people who just now, let's say, just studied this data visualization using Excel, they want to get into the software industry. What would you suggest them, like how to go about this? They're like fully freshers, just out of college. They are seeing this video. They are thinking that they want to get into software industry. How to go about it now?
Yeah, of course. So see, this journey is very easy, I will say. first of all, don't get your confidence down, right? Just think that you can do. First of all, this is the first thing, because if you cannot do, then no one can do. We are the boss, right, for ourselves at least. So we should be always get confidence that I can do definitely. And somewhere I read this, that there are 4 things which a person should have to achieve the high success. The first thing is quality education. This you cannot, skip. Quality education means good resources you should refer. Then either it can be good tutorials, good books. Always try to go to get good persons. Always meet good persons who are boosting your confidence. Don't meet those persons who are negative to you, right? This is first thing. So first of all, good resources, good education. Second thing is hard working. You should be very, very hard work. It should not be the case that if you're not getting, you just escape. Don't let down yourself. Not getting, refer other resource. At least some resource will be there from which you will get everything. So hard working. Third thing is patience. When you are working hard, sometimes during that time period, it can be possible that your patience get down. You think that I should achieve this. You are not achieving this. Be patient. One day will be yours, right? And the last thing is extreme blind trust in God. Because if God is there, definitely he will take care of you. If you don't feel that God is there, then you have to take care of yourself. So I believe that God is there because he will take care of me. And after that, you just start your journey, right? Now the question which you asked, that how to get into software industry. First of all, you just select your programming language, because this is must. Without programming language, you cannot create software. So whatever programming language you are comfortable with, you just go with that. Nowadays, Python is in hype. If someone wants to go into data analytics, machine learning, R is also the language of the choice. If you want to go for, I think, development, then there are a lot of languages like Scala is there, Python is there, R is there. R is not used generally for software development, generally, but C, C++, Java, all these are there, React, Node. So whatever your stack is there, you just select that. Once you select that stack, then you have to define the structure. Then you have to, if suppose you are going into machine learning, because I am the person in that field, so I can guide better in that machine learning side. So for example, you are well versed with Python basics, Python programming. After that, you should go with statistics. Once you are very good with statistics, very good means at least whatever is expected in an industry, basics of statistics you should know. After that, you just go with the basics of machine learning. What is the basic definition of machine learning? Types of machine learning. In each type, what are different types of algorithm in machine learning? And then select 5, 10 algorithms. Then just start exploring them. So with this flow, once you are done with machine learning, then you just go deep learning. Then the word is yours, like NLP is there, vision is there. Whatever field you want, interests you, just explore there. But at least you just start from some programming language. Because the thing is, if you are knowing a lot of about the mathematics and algorithms, but you do not know how to implement them, then there is no use of yours, right? Because unless you are not able to implement the algorithms, what to do with the knowledge? So that's why I will say that first start with the programming. Someone can think that I will first start with the theory part and then I will learn programming. So this is their comfort. Of course, they can select whatever comfort they feel, and accordingly they can start practice. And for software engineering side, development side, I think there are a lot of resources they can refer for getting better idea. Yeah.
And like minimum, how much time should they think that before starting this much time I should dedicate for studying? Only after that I can start looking for jobs.
Okay. So this is a good question, I will say, because in starting, the thing is, I think if someone is fresher, then I think 1 month is for Python and 15 days is for statistics, and then 1.5 month for machine learning concepts. So at least I will say that 3 months are sufficient if you are fresher. But if you are good with programming, then you can skip that first 1 month, and then 1.5 month is sufficient, or 1.5 or 2 months are sufficient. After that, you can definitely explore. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, if you are putting in the full hard work, you are able to understand everything that you are studying. In 3 months, you'll have the knowledge, and then you can start applying for companies and interviews. You can show that you have the knowledge.
Definitely. And knowledge means some knowledge in 3 months. It is not like means less knowledge. Deeper knowledge you will have in 3 months, because 3 months time is too much. And of course, this is, I am saying that you are at least investing 4 to 5 hours per day.
Okay, very important, because again, if you are spending less time, then you will have to spend more days. If you are spending more time in a day, then again days will reduce.
Yes.
Okay, great. Any final message for all our viewers who are watching before we finish this workshop?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for joining us. And because you are there, that's why we are here. So thank you so much for your support. Again, please keep on boosting yourself, your skills, and definitely the world is yours. You can, provide lot of contribution to this world, and that's it. All the best for your future endeavors. Yeah.
And thank you so much, Alok, for coming here and sharing your knowledge here with all of us.
Yeah, Rishabh, same here. Means thank you so much to you basically and your the complete EdYoda team. So for taking me here, thank you so much for that.
And we hope to see you again in more upcoming workshops. So again, if you want to see Alok in more workshops on other topics, a quick like and a comment that you want on what topic you want to see more next workshops, so that we can keep organizing such workshops for all of you. And if you want to see more such courses, then you can check out our website edyoda.com. The website link will be available in the description, where you'll be able to find more such courses in much more detail. Again, the link is available in description. And yes, that will be it from our side. Thank you all for watching, and a quick like and subscribe to the channel. That'll be it. All right then. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye and take care.